Dane, what's up, man? Season three. How you feeling about season three, man?
Man, I've been giddy all day for it. I've been waiting, anticipating it, and we got some great ones tonight. But that's what even makes it better. A
Yeah.
bigger event.
Yeah, it's today marks the 1 year anniversary officially, the 1 year of the show. Remember when we sat out and we said we had a little vision in the mind of what we wanted the show
Yeah,
to be about?
yeah,
Positivity, respect, making sure that we're showcasing female athletes and female, not just athletes, but female presence in the way they deserve,
yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely.
We've talked about that many times. Shout out to our buddy Trevor from TFK. Thanks for the bumper this morning, man. Appreciate you. Can't wait to catch up with him soon. Good guy. But Dane, it is definitely season two. Looking back over it, just take a moment, like looking
Yeah,
back over season two. Had a lot of lessons this year we've learned, didn't we? You know?
yeah. I think I've gone through maybe two notebooks of notes that I've made and lessons I've learned, and kind of took them like we always say, take them to the next generation because they're
Yeah.
definitely in good hands, like we always say.
I started going back through the catalog, just kind of reminiscing
Yeah,
because way back in
yeah.
the day, right? I look at last year when we had a chance to bring on Marcos, our buddy,
Mhm.
of course, Kenny
Yeah,
from Oklahoma State, the entire Oklahoma State crew at this point.
yeah,
Of course, Corey from Seether, as we rolled into Joey from Disciple, Yogi from Demon
yeah,
Hunter, and the ladies that came on and just rolling through this
yeah,
catalog, Jade, Chelsea Conham, Miranda Maverick, Anna Woods, just a
yeah,
heck of a year so far, man. And so I don't even know. And then we like, how do we make it better? And then stuff just keeps happening. So to make it
yeah,
even greater, kicking off season three, I was excited that it's just you and me. We love all of our guest hosts, but when we get a chance to showcase
yeah,
someone that we truly admire and respect, I'm sometimes just glad it's just we love them all, but I'm glad it's just you and me. So
yeah.
there's a person we have coming on tonight, Dane. It's very exciting for me. You know, I love to fish.
Yeah.
I could fish
Oh
24/7.
yeah,
On top
definitely.
of that, this lady's a pro angler and she's representing the sport and doing it big to showcase
Yeah.
female athleticism. So I don't even know how to do this, but I'm going to not waste any more time and get to it and bring on our good friend Christy Bradley. Christy, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you guys doing? Thank you.
Excellent.
Excited. Thanks for kicking off season three
Yeah,
with us, Christy. It's a pleasure to have you kicking it
yeah,
off.
definitely.
Absolutely.
So, Christy, it's good to meet you. I know Christiana. I know you go by Christy. So
Yeah.
for everyone on the page, Christiana goes by Christy. So thank you again for making the sport so cool. You're real cool, and you're bringing that kind of like fashion to the industry and
Yeah,
also
there you go.
toughness. You got this cool blend of things. So we're gonna kick it off some questions and get right down to it. When I look at you being a pro angler, and everybody has these moments in their life. I've been fishing since I was little. I remember my
Yeah.
first catch with my grandpa, where I was at in Kansas and all that. Tell me back to maybe when you got hooked, no pun intended. When did you maybe catch your first fish, or when did this become a passion for you,
Yeah.
fishing, you know?
Uh,
Mm.
Great question. Thank you. Yeah, my brother actually got me into fishing in my early 20s. He was competitive fishing already, and I loved it, but I just hadn't really, like, I'd been fishing ponds and stuff like that, and he invited me to fish his and hers tournament, as they call it, with him.
Mm.
And so we won that tournament,
Okay.
and that was awesome. And he told me, he's like, dude, you're a natural. I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means, but
Yeah.
we fished another tournament together, and I was hooked, as they
Yeah.
say. And
No pun intended.
yeah, right. And the following year, he asked me to fish with him as his partner for the entire year, and that was all it took. It's like early 20s. So I didn't really grow up fishing,
Mhm.
like
Really?
so
Okay.
many anglers you talk to are like, yeah, my grandfather, my whatever. But no, my brother was into it from like a very young age, but I didn't really get into it until like early 20s.
That's cool.
Mm. Okay.
That's a new angle on it. And no, I keep
Right?
saying that, but right.
No pun intended.
So
Right.
so early 20s, but you made up for lost time and
Yeah.
all those fish that I didn't catch in my 20 extra years on you fishing, you made up for lost time. That's cool. Go ahead, Dane.
So when did you finally decide, okay, this is something I have a passion for and I want to do, and you just kind of strike out on your own to go ahead and take it to that next
Yeah.
level and turn pro in that?
I feel
Mhm.
like timing was really a big part of it. I met my would-be husband with my brother at the Bassmaster, or I met him a couple years before we went to the Bassmaster Classic. And we were competing against each other. My brother and I competed as a team, and my husband was competing against us. And so we were just small time stuff, right? Local. And we all went to the Bassmaster Classic together once my husband and I started dating. And they had this kiosk there and Bassmaster Classic is like the Super Bowl of fishing, right? Bass fishing.
Oh yeah.
They had a kiosk there for the Women's Bassmaster Tour. And we're like, what is this? So my husband, my boyfriend at the time, husband, and my brother said, dude, you have to do this, right? So the first time I'm in Virginia, and I'm in Virginia, and I knew about some women's tournaments, the Bass and Gals that were happening down in like the southern, states and Texas and stuff like that. But I couldn't justify the expense and everything. Yeah. But when the ESPN was backing the sport, I'm like, and I had the encouragement from my brother and my boyfriend at the time. I was like, yeah, let's try it, So that was like 2005.
Let's go. You got to say right now, Dane, he definitely Christie. He's a keeper. He's definitely encouraging you to do it for a living. Do not lose him. Whatever you do, he's a keeper.
Right?
Let's go.
Yeah.
Shout out to your husband. That's awesome.
It's kind of making me think all these puns came from the fishing world.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah,
I love it.
I took his boat, and in fact, we took his boat. He went with me for the first tournament, my husband, and we took his boat and drove like his gas engine, like lifted Dodge truck, like 17 hours or whatever.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
That's romance right there. I am loving it.
Right?
Ladies, if you get a man that does that for you, put a ring on his finger. Let's go. That's awesome.
Right?
So drop the mic. Let's go, Dane.
Right.
So from that early events to all the places you've been, all the events you've done, is there maybe a tournament or two other than that one that kind of sticks out in the forefront of your mind?
That's hard to beat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, there's one that really stands out in my mind. I mean, it was my best finish in open level, tournaments, Bassmaster Open. I finished 4th place, and it was one of those deals. I don't know if you guys have ever done like a competitive fishing tournament thing, but a lot of the cliche is, your worst practice can be your best finish. Yeah. And that was the deal. I mean, I had a lot of worse practices, but in this case, I was on Lake Douglas in Tennessee, Eastern Tennessee, beautiful lake. And I had like the worst practice ever. Figured some things out during the first day of the tournament, and ended up so it's a 3-day event, right? 225 boats or so, and the top 10 make it to the 3rd day. And so I'm the one girl out of all the boaters, and that was the case, the entire time I was fishing the opens, whatever. But so I made the cut, this is my first cut in the Bassmaster Opens, and I was in 9th place out of 10. And so going into day 3, I was like, well, whatever. I mean, I made the cut. It's awesome. So you let your guard down a little bit, right? But I ended up sitting in what they call the hot seat for
It's talking my language.
6 or 7 spots or whatever. So I ended up 4th. But the coolest thing was, besides that, my husband drove 8 hours overnight, had my dog there on a leash when I got to the weigh-in. And like, we're pulling up to the weigh-in, I was like, oh my God, there's a Brittany Spaniel over there. It's like, oh my God, that's my husband. I didn't know he was gonna be there, but
it's so awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah.
That is, like I said, he that's better than catching a largemouth bass, and she caught him.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So we should have brought him on it for camp. That's awesome.
Right.
So
he's it's hard in Pennsylvania right now. So
there you go. Yeah, like it's great, man. So when you look at get your storied career, like you said, I knew about you long before we approached you. I wanted to make sure we did you justice with the platform.
Yeah.
Watch what you've done, and again, there's this thing where you can't, and that's why I love this generation of like selfie generation. I love it that I'm not the only person that has more selfies with a fish than anything else. You know what I'm saying? When I see some of
Right.
your stuff, and the influence now, like the next generation is, hey, it's okay to take a selfie with it's okay. So when you think about influence and some of the people that everybody has this, I've had people like, you learn something from a fisherman. You'll be out there on a boat. Oh, even the way they tie a knot, even the way they throw, the types of lures. I'm always learning something, and you notice that too. Is there maybe one or two like, okay, knowledge banks for you, mentors on you that have helped you the most in fishing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
the first one that jumps in my mind is my brother. I mean,
yeah,
like, he got me into the sport in the first place. But man, he's the best natural angler, if that makes sense to
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. It
Like
does.
natural instinct. He's the best I've ever seen. But I mean, being fortunate enough to be in the boat with him for, I mean, we're in our 50s.
Yeah,
And when we fish, we feel like kids, but man, it's just great to watch him. And he's taught me so much about just instincts and thinking about how to just, you know, key in on those intricacies that you're
yeah.
not going to see with electronics or whatever. So definitely him, but also more recently, I would say that influences are more the girls.
Yeah.
Uh, I've as I've gotten older, I kind of look back, I'm like, these girls were there when I was their age, but I wasn't really keying in on how I could help them. And now, there's some girls who are coming up, they're just in high school, college fishing and stuff. And I'm just like, those are my influences now because, we become wise over time. And it's
Yeah.
like, those are the influences because I want to
I
help
think you're spot on
them.
though, We'll give
Yeah,
it a
right.
second, Chrissy. I think
Definitely.
it froze up. And you there?
Yeah.
There it is. Yeah. Can you hear me, Chrissy?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. But I think you're spot on, Christy. Some of the wisdom of like Dana and I always say osmosis, right? Where it's like you
Yeah.
learn and then you give back. And I think it's cool to see that. I'll watch somebody else. My daughter. It's funny that you said that. My daughter and my wife. She started fishing during COVID. She didn't fish before that, and she walks out, and I'm like, you kind of have this swag. But you know how it is. You have this swag when you catch a few bass. In your case, a few hundred. I walk out there and say, hey, you're not gonna. And we're trying to get these carp out of our local pond. Like you're not gonna get it. So literally, she throws a plastic garlic jig, throws it out. I mean, just a garlic, brings in this like 4 pound gar that I've been trying to catch for like a week in a carp. What is going on here? Like, oh yeah, I just did this, and I stood there like it's just like you said, influence is a nuance. It's really cool.
Yeah,
So, man, I
absolutely.
love it. Go ahead, Dan. I love it.
We're we're already to November. I mean, it seems
Yeah.
like the year just went like that quickly. What is on the horizon for you coming into actually the end of this year and then going into 2024? Are there some events on the horizon that you'd like to tell us about?
Mm.
Yeah, it's crazy you say it's November. You guys can hear me okay?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. It's November. I'm out here in the garage in a sleeveless shirt. It's like 78 degrees outside right now in Virginia. But so for me, end of 2023 is about catching smallmouth bass. And I'm gonna try to get some good video footage for, to that end of helping girls, young people, whoever wants to get into the sport that's not really getting the information from the YouTube videos or whatever. I want to try to influence that. But then in 2024, I want to really, I'm stepping back from major tournament fishing so that I can focus more on the small amount of time I have off work. Because,
Yeah. Yeah.
fishing is a working man's sport. And I say that, literally
It's
it's
true.
a working man's sport.
Yeah.
but trying to change that, and trying to help influence change. And I think in the last, 25 years I've been doing it, I've been able to help influence girls a little bit and bring more, female presence into the sport. And I just want to really execute on that and
Yeah.
continue to focus on that.
I have to because Dane
Yeah.
Dane would say this all the time, Chrissy, what you are about, and this is why we keep going back to why we do this, right? I love to see that, like you said, the movement. I think whether it's
Yeah.
with you as a pro angler, some of the softballers we've talked to, the pro
Yeah.
basketballers, the girls, WNBA, on and on, right? It should have been like this a long time ago. I'm glad that
Yeah.
you've been part of that movement. You're part of history where now, whether it's yourself, or a pro fisherman male. It doesn't matter. It's just, what are you doing? What do you got? Right? Like, you're helping bring the next generation. It is cool too. I keep going back to influence. It is definitely, even though I might be able to tell my daughter something, she would probably take it way more to heart. And said your daughter too, Dan. If you're telling them this is how you should throw, or this is what you should do, they're going to take it. They just are. They're going to take it more to heart than if I say it or Dane says it. So you're spot on about influence, and you're leaving that shadow, Christie. It's very large, that shadow. So please don't stop anytime soon. Okay.
Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate you saying that. And in fact, I know you're right, because I work in cybersecurity. I've been in IT for 30 years probably. It feels like that's a long time, but my daughter was influenced by that, and she's an electrical engineer now.
That's
and,
so cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely. It matters, and that see her be her kind of concept is alive.
I love that.
I mean, she kind of parallels you going into an industry that was pretty male dominated, and which is great, is breaking that ground. And that kind of made me think of a question. Whenever you started doing this, what was it like going into a competition, being probably one of the maybe the only female there? What was it like going to some of those tournaments?
Intimidating, but also motivating, because I was kind of cocky, and I had that
good.
I'm gonna, it doesn't matter.
Mop the floor with you,
right?
Mop the floor with them,
But guys, it was intense, because we were, then we were in the time of, where a lot of sexual harassment was really becoming and the guys were very standoffish, and rightly so, because they don't know how to take you. And so it took a while for me to gain respect. And I think that tournament I talked about stands out in my mind so much, because one of the pros that I respect most in the sport, as I was sitting in the hot seat, as I was sitting in the hot seat and I bumped him, he came up and shook my hand. And that moment was like respect, right? And it was like,
that's good.
Really, that moment, and then my husband being there, and I mean, it was like, okay, I can do this. I can compete at this level.
That's what I'm talking about. And like, that's what that handshake, that defining thing. Hey, shake my hand. Like, we are equals. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what we're fighting for and talking about. So Dane, I'll preach all day long on that, Dane. You guys So what you're talking is right up and that is what we're about. So before I get too fired up and I start going and running laps, Christie, I'm going to transition to a segment, because I'll get fired up. Dane says, like, don't preach, we're on the air. So I'm going to transition to a segment. There's a segment that we're happy that we get to test out on you. No, we've already ironed the wrinkles out, but you get to be our first participant as we go into season 3 in a new segment, Christie. Okay. So we have a grab bag of I say gimmicks or things we do for question 5. The Rapid's not going away. Don't worry, guys. We have that. We've also brought in a segment that we'll be doing at times called Factor Fibs. And also this segment is called Truth or Dane. So it just sounds cooler than saying truth or dare. That's why it's called Truth or Dane. So what this is, Christie, we got about 8 or 9 questions, or phrases or questions, and you got to tell us on the spot, who do you think is more likely to say this phrase? Maybe from listening to episodes or just trying to piece it together from the personality you may have gathered from us. We want you to tell us which one of us is more likely to do this thing or say this phrase. Okay? So you ready?
Right. So rapid fire, right?
It's rapid type. Okay. Yeah. So just whoever you think, Josh or Dane. You ready?
All right.
Okay.
Yep.
So the first one is, now it's all PG, but the first one is, who's more likely to say, let's get weird?
Dane.
Nope, that's me. I actually say it all the time. That's me. It's okay.
I said, let's go. I would have been like you.
Yeah. Let's get weird. Let's get weird is one of my sayings. The next one, question 2. One time I made a mistake, but I was wrong.
Dane.
Yep, that's Dane. That's definitely Dane. So, third one. Glad that you got to see me. It's good to be seen.
Dane.
Like it. There, Dane. Let's go, Dane. So this is more of who would do this. Which one of us is more likely to wear Jinko jeans with a brown belt?
Oh. Josh.
Yeah, yeah, you're spot
Okay.
on. You're crushing it. So far, Christy, so far, you're 3 for 4. I love it. So, Dane, this next one's for you. This will make you laugh, Dane. If I had $1 for every time I had $1, I'd have $1.
Josh.
Nope, that's Dane.
Oh,
This is okay. So you're 3 for 5. Who's more likely to say just simply groovy?
Dane.
Yep. Now you second. Yeah, you're good. So a couple more, 3 more of these.
Okay.
Oh my Lanta, that was a bass hit.
Oh, Dane.
Nope, that was me. That's one of my phrases. Yeah, it's all good. 2 more. Can I get some Tabasco sauce with that hit? Because we do a lot of sports calling and all that.
No,
so.
but I keep thinking of Dane.
Nope. So last one. Simply as it is. What's up, big dog? Who's more likely to say that?
All right, I'm gonna screw it up again. Josh.
Yeah, that's Dane. That was Dane.
Oh.
Man, these are all Daneisms tonight. He's got about a whole, he's got a book of, I'm kidding you not, there's a book of things. I write this stuff down. So thank you, Christie, for being a good sport. That was fun. I appreciate you being a part of that. So
if there's anything animated, Josh is a little bit more animated.
Okay.
We're doing our play-by-plays.
I gotta listen more.
yeah, it's all good. Thank you, Christie. I appreciate you doing that. So Dane, go ahead and take the last segment.
So on this portion, Chris, we call it open mic. You're very much a groundbreaker in all sense of the words with what you've done for the sport, what you're doing for, influencing women and younger girls. Is there maybe a couple of words of wisdom maybe you can pass down to that next generation that aspires to, break ground like you did and break into something and be the first maybe, or even just to be a better athlete, musician, or whatever they aspire to be in life? Is there maybe a couple words of wisdom you can give to them?
Yeah, I appreciate the chance to say that, and that's a tough one because I had so many notes going into this. Like, I think for me, especially for girls in the sport or in a situation where you're a male dominated area, like, don't be intimidated. Trust your gut. Put in your 10,000 hours, man. I don't know, like that. I can't say that enough. Like, put the time in, because that if you're really looking to achieve the next level, that's how you do it, I think. And don't beat yourself up. Like, I've had many what I call the drive of shame, like 27 hours back from Del Rio, Texas, after sucking it up in a Bassmaster Open, and finishing in the bottom third. Don't beat yourself up. Like, you're putting the time in and you're there, you're doing it, and appreciate when you appreciate your wins. I was at the Bassmaster Classic. I was sponsored by Bass Pro Shops. Luckily, I mean, I'm not bragging, but I was sponsored by them for a couple years, and I'm at the Bassmaster Classic behind the black curtain, right, getting some giveaways, and Bill Dance is out there signing autographs, and I stopped right there, and this was just 2 years ago. I stopped and I was like, wait a second, what am I doing? Like, I'm beating myself up daily because I have to achieve, but I'm living it right now. So this is the thing that I was trying to achieve. So appreciate your wins and don't beat yourself up.
I think you're spot on in so many ways, because whether it's like, there's never a bad day on the lake, that there's never, that, but like Dane, we talk about this too, whether it's softball diamond, basketball court, football field, on the lake, if you're in a NASCAR, if you're doing something that, or, maybe it's music, you're playing a gig, maybe it's in front of 10 people at a coffee shop or a sold out arena. If you're doing something that you love, it's not a bad day. It doesn't, all the other stuff is just like, okay, trophies are awesome. Trust me, we love to win. But I think what you're saying is you're still having a good time for the love of the sport, for the love of the game, So that's awesome.
And I'll say, one other thought I had on that is, don't hesitate. I did hesitate, and I didn't have the avenues to reach out to the people that were doing the things that I wanted to do while I was doing it. Now that barrier doesn't exist. So don't hesitate to reach out to the people who are doing the things you want to do, and try to connect with them. Like, you call it your heroes, call it whatever, like, reach out. Like, you know, if there's a girl out there listening that wants to fish, contact me. I
Yeah,
want
yeah. I love that. And
Nice.
I know it's
Nice.
spot on because whenever I was able to contact you first, you're a lady of your word. You really do stay in
Yeah.
touch. And that's why I said role model. People like yourself, you know, the next generation is in great hands. Dane, am I right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
well, Christie, I don't even know how to say thank you enough. Again, we wanted
Yeah.
to make an impression again for opening night for this. And again, we've been blessed to work with a lot of people, but there was something about your dynamic, your presence, the way you conduct yourself, in such a way of like hope, like as it's
Yep.
already made so much ground has been broken, the hope that now we get to start seeing, like you said, whether it's you or someone else in the same room, there's no separation. It's just now known for your craft, right? That's what we've
Yeah.
been all about from day one. So thank you for being
Yeah.
a part of that pioneer movement to get this
Yeah.
done. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it. Big weight on your shoulders, but you've helped to really carry it a long way, you know? So
Yeah.
Hey,
Absolutely.
I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you so
of
much.
course.
Yeah, thank
As
you.
Zane and I say, please make it a point. Obviously, you know, we'll stay in touch. We made that a promise. We'll make sure, of course, I get the contact information out. Please let this be the first of many. We want to make sure. And you're welcome to send some pictures my way of fish, and I'll claim them as my own. I'm just kidding. No, but like, please, let's make sure we stay in touch, and I'll be sure to get this out to the world as soon as we can. Okay.
Sounds great. Thanks, you guys. Have a good
Thank you, my
night.
Thank
friend.
you.
You as well.
Thank you
Take
for your
care.
time.
Take
Bye.
care. So Dane, I've told you, man. Christy's awesome, man. She's one of a kind. I love that lady. What'd you think of her, man?
Yeah, I mean, I love the message of, especially when we asked about the influences, not
Yeah,
just learning from people that have been doing it longer, but also the ones that are learning along the way that are asking of you. And like you even said with your daughter, I learned something from them as well. You don't discount somebody because they're younger than you. You can
Mm,
still learn something from everybody. It doesn't matter the age, the experience. A new set of eyes sometimes is the best way to solve a problem.
that was fun, man. That was great. That was a great kickoff to season
Yeah.
three, man.
Oh man,
So,
loved it.
man, she is awesome as they come. And again, I could talk. You know this. I bored you to death. I could talk fishing for days on end, man. And then, like I said, the
Well,
combination.
well, well, you have before, so.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. To get the combination of bringing on a athletic inspiration, doing it
Yeah.
for females, and one of the best sports in my opinion that's ever invented. It's one of the oldest sports. It's older than time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when
Oh
the
yeah.
cavemen and women walked out and beat a fish, like, oh, it's one of the oldest sports ever. You know?
Yeah.
So and it just keeps getting better. So thank you, Christy, for kicking it off. That was a
Yeah.
great one.
Absolutely.
Got a few more. Dane, this week we said we were going to hit the ground running hard this week. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
we got a couple more tonight for you. We got one of our dear friends and mentors, Justin Light, is stopping by to help us coach interview an old friend of ours. Guess who's stopping back by, Dane, for tonight?
Oh, I get giddy just thinking about her coming by. I can't wait to hear her story
Yeah,
of everybody's going to be inspired by her like we are, like I have
yeah.
been.
Our dear friend, our old friend Savannah Watley stops by for season 3, man, a returning guest,
Yeah.
right? And then our nightcap is a local hero because we still like to make sure we showcase those local
Yeah.
heroes. Our buddy Jeremy Spring from a great couple of bands called Abandoned Kansas and Glass House will take us home tonight. So we'll take a moment to regroup as we kick off season 3. As always, don't forget that we love you. And Dane?
Thank you for listening.